Imagine crawling headfirst into a pitch-black hole barely wider than your shoulders. The air is heavy, it stinks of earth, sweat and gunpowder. You're armed with nothing but a flashlight, a pistol and raw nerves. Ahead of you might be a Viet Cong fighter waiting in ambush, a nest of venomous snakes, or a tripwire rigged to blow you into pieces. By the mid-1960s, the Vietnam War was escalating fast. The United States had poured hundreds of thousands of troops into Southeast Asia, armed with helicopters, jets, and the most advanced weapons of the era. To the Americans, it was like fighting a shadow army. And the secret to those shadows? The tunnels. The Viet Cong built an underground world stretching hundreds of miles. They could hide from airstrikes, move troops unseen, and launch attacks that left US soldiers wondering where the enemy had even come from. These tunnels became one of the most frustrating, deadly problems of the entire war. So the army came up with a grim solution: send men inside them. That's where the tunnel rats came in. This was the life of the US Army's tunnel rats in Vietnam, soldiers whose life expectancy, once they went underground, was measured in minutes, sometimes in just seconds. The Viet Cong built an enormous underground world. Entire villages, supply depots, hospitals and command posts hidden beneath the jungles of South Vietnam. The most famous network was Cu Chi, outside of Saigon. Over 150 miles of tunnels. Soldiers could live underground for weeks at a time, striking US forces and then vanishing like ghosts. Airstrikes, artillery, even napalm couldn't touch them. To win, the Americans needed men who would fight the Viet Cong on their own turf, underground. The Army and Marines didn't recruit tunnel rats formally. Volunteers and not-so-volunteers were picked from the ranks, usually the smallest guys in the platoon because the tunnels were only 16 to 18 inches wide. Their mission? Go down alone, explore, destroy supplies and kill anyone they found. Typical gear included a flashlight, a pistol, a knife, and sometimes a rope to be pulled out if they didn't return. That was it. No body armor, no gas mask at first, just guts. Once you dropped into a tunnel, you faced a gauntlet of horrors. Booby traps, bamboo spikes, grenades rigged to tripwires, hidden trapdoors. Even snakes. The Viet Cong sometimes tied poisonous vipers to doors as living booby traps. At any moment, you could crawl into a hidden chamber with armed Viet Cong. In the pitch black, fights happened at arm's length. Tunnel rats described it as point-blank murder in the dark. The deeper you went, the hotter it got. Air was stale, suffocating. Many tunnel rats passed out from lack of oxygen before they could finish their mission. Claustrophobia. Imagine crawling face first into earth with no room to turn around. If you panicked, you were done. One veteran said, "The first 10 seconds were always the worst. You wondered if this was the tunnel that would finally get you." Statistically, not every tunnel rat died in just seconds. In fact, survival was possible. Many did come back alive. But in practice, that's what it felt like. Every entry could be your last. One wrong move, one hidden trap, one waiting enemy, and you were finished. Some reports put tunnel rat casualty rates as high as 1 in 3 on certain missions. Others made it through dozens of crawls, but every time it was rolling dice with death. They became known for insane bravery and equally insane stress. Tunnel rats suffered some of the worst post-traumatic stress of any Vietnam role. They lived in constant paranoia. The tunnels followed them into their dreams. Many admitted they expected to die every time they crawled in. Some became reckless, almost fatalistic, joking that they were already dead before going down. Despite the danger, tunnel rats were incredibly effective. They uncovered hidden supply caches, destroyed weapons depots, captured intelligence that saved lives. Their courage forced the Viet Cong to constantly rebuild, and in many cases, they disrupted entire operations. Yet tunnel rats never got much recognition. They weren't a formal unit, and many returned home to obscurity. Today, veterans who survived are finally sharing their stories, reminding us just how terrifying and heroic their missions were. So next time you hear about Vietnam, don't just think of helicopters or firefights in the jungle. Think of the men who went underground with nothing but a pistol and a flashlight, who stared death in the face in the dark for 30 seconds, or 30 minutes, every single mission. They were the tunnel rats, and they had one of the most dangerous jobs in military history.